effort, a big fight, terrific half-court defense. A lot of things to be really happy about as the Utah Jazz fall tonight in their 9th loss in their last 11 games, but without Rudy and Donovan, that's not a big surprise. What is a surprise is they defended in the half-court. We're talking about it coming up on Locked On Jazz. Check that. We're coming up talking about it on POSTCAST, but we're live and I can't fix that. So, David Locke along with Ron Boone bringing you POSTCAST here. Ron, I feel very encouraged tonight. I feel like the next 2 weeks are about, without Rudy, if it's a week, 2, whatever it's going to be, about can you play defense. And the Suns' half-court offense tonight, which coming in the game was the 4th best half-court in the offense in the NBA, finished in the 26th percentile with an 85.5 offensive rating tonight. And that's while they had a great fourth quarter. I think the Jazz played great defense tonight in the half court. Their transition defense was not good, and the Suns were in transition too much, and that's what cost them the game. But being able to play half court defense without Rudy Gobert is something new.
I was very pleased with the effort. I was very pleased with even more pleased with the game plan. I mean, I think in past games with Rudy, we have funnel everything to Rudy, and I think we're finding out that individual game plans to take away strength of certain players can work with this team without funneling everything to Rudy, if you understand what I mean. Finding a different way to play without relying on Rudy to be that defensive stopper every time down the floor. And I think that's what Rudy's been asking for. And some of the comments that I've heard him make.
What's interesting is sometimes the Jazz play best when someone has a dominant player like this because they can build a game plan for him. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not sure that anyone's going to write home about holding Devin Booker to 43 points on 28 shots or Chris Paul to 21 on 17, so I'm not sure that they did. But they made him work. I mean, the game plan, you set it up in shoot-around report, was to make them go left. A lot of the night they were really uncomfortable, particularly in the second quarter. They were uncomfortable. They held the Suns to 5 of 17 shooting in the second quarter. They held them to 11 of 25 shooting in the third quarter. Those are major steps in the right direction for a team to defend without their main guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's what I'm getting at, David, is that with a game plan, you can make other things happen out there on the floor. Their bench only got 14 points tonight. And sure enough, that didn't have anything to do with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Both of those guys are absolutely great players. But the game plan, you could see something. You could see what was working for them, and it took away some of the effectiveness of some of the other players, I think. And for the most part, okay, they get beat, they get outscored, they get about 49% shooting there from the field, 39% there from the 3-point line, but they were in the ball game without Rudy and Donovan.
Yeah, I mean, I just think this stretch is about learning how to play and more than just without Rudy, frankly, or more than relying on Rudy, because the fact of the matter is that teams minimize with a game plan what Rudy can do defensively. They avoid him. He's the best defender in the world in the playoffs, and guys are going to have to be able to defend. And tonight, generally, that's pretty good. The fact that Jazz couldn't score for most of the night and finished with an offensive rating of a 104, not surprising to me. We were missing our 2 best offensive players, and Donovan Mitchell is our creator, and Rudy Gobert is the guy who bends the defense. Like, that doesn't surprise me. We couldn't score tonight against the second best defense in the league, and I thought their defense was exceptional at times. You want to know why they're the second best defensive team in the league? Those guys got into you, pestered the ball, had length at the rim, blocked shots, rotated beautifully, were on a string. They were terrific.
And only turned the ball over 10 times. That's a solid basketball team. They got one heck of a system. They got players that complement the system. But my thinking here, if Donovan was here, that makes Booker play defense. I'm not so sure how much defense he had to play tonight. That makes Chris Paul, to the point where you can take advantage of Chris Paul's size at 6'1", maybe post him up, run him off screens, just as, do some other things that could disrupt what they want to do defensively.
Well, here's the numbers tonight. The Suns are 14 of 17 at the rim. They're 11 of 20 in the floater zone. Mm-hmm. So they shoot 25 of 37 in the paint. You're not doing that if Rudy's playing. The Jazz shoot 12 of 23 at the rim and 6 of 18 in the floater zone. So the Jazz end up going 18 of 41 in the paint. This game is lost there. And that's where Rudy and Donovan impact the game the most for the Jazz.
Yeah. It was a loss, but it was a learning experience, I think, for as a team and the players are concerned. And it was something for us broadcasting the game that we could see a little bit different that, can help this team going forward. And hopefully, we don't have to deal with this to the point where we keep falling in the standings.
Jazz cut it to 2. Chris Paul hits a jumper. Mike Conley drives on an open lane on the left side. He's getting the basket. He's fouled. I can't remember whether the shot was going to go in or not. And in the meantime, Hassan Whiteside blasts Jalen Smith, knocking Bojan Bogdanovic and Mikal Bridges to the ground. Gets called for an offensive foul and a technical foul. No one's quite clear what actually happened on that play or why Hassan did that. But the end result was that they then get a technical free throw. The ball, Conley's play gets wiped off, and the game was over. So that was really disappointing because it does not, at least sitting here, and maybe we're going to find something else out when we watch the replay, or there's another replay, or we're going to find out something in postgame. But as we talk right here, having just seen it and then limited replay of it, it seemed illogical, almost unfathomable that play would take place, as though Hassan got bothered by something. It's just unclear. And so there must be something else, or it's unclear what that is, but it was a play that ended the Jazz chances of having any chance of this game.
I did not see any of that. I was watching Conley drive to the basket. I was watching him get fouled there by Booker, and I'm thinking, okay, there's a whistle. He's going to get a couple of free throws. Could very well tie this ball game. I think it was 94-92 at that point. Or
94. It was a 4-point game. 96-92. It would have been 96-94.
Yeah, somewhere in there. And so that was my thinking. Did not see what was going on the weak side of the floor. So whatever the case, we'll probably get a chance to see the whole thing, and maybe we'll, through the media, we'll find out exactly what happened.
So someone was asking if I think the Whiteside foul has an impact on the locker room and Quinn's decisions.
It's going to have an impact on Quinn, for sure. If it turns out to be not a smart, well, obviously it probably wasn't a smart play because it did hurt the Jazz, but it'll have an impact on Quinn. I mean, the players, if it bothers them, I doubt if anyone will say anything right away or say anything but I'm sure they're feeling it. That's for sure.
So it'll be interesting to see. Jazz are trying a lot of other things. I think it's, the small lineup didn't actually work very well tonight, by the way, just to kind of have that for you. Whiteside played 35 minutes. In those 35 minutes, we were plus 11 in the minutes in which he was off, the 13 minutes in which Whiteside was off the floor, and we went small tonight. We were minus 19. Rudy Gay went 17 minutes tonight with no points, 2 rebounds, and a steal, and only 1 shot. I don't know whether that's his inability to get open or our inability to get him the ball, but I will promise you Rudy Gay does not like playing 17 minutes and only getting 1 shot. Jordan Clarkson had a nice night with 26. Conley had 10 assists and 16 points. He did have 2 turnovers late that were uncharacteristic. One, I think, really because he hasn't played with Whiteside much. I mean, really, you from a standpoint of winning or losing, the key stat to me, Ron, was I was getting ready for the game, is that Hassan Whiteside and Mike Conley only run 50 pick and rolls all year together because Mike Conley matches Rudy Gobert. And then when Rudy Gobert got hurt, Hassan Whiteside got COVID. They both got COVID. So then, therefore, Conley didn't play with him. So you could see how uncomfortable those two were together today.
So the question, I think, probably some of our listeners, so what's significant? What does that mean? I mean, that because the timing is different, and it's just different. I mean, Rudy maybe holds the screens a little bit longer. Maybe Whiteside might release, and I mean, just so many things. I think that goes into being a combination there of being able to run a very good pick and roll, and we didn't get one. Well, we did get one. Well, I don't even think that was a lob at the rim with Conley, and it was more of 2 defenders goes at at Conley, and he, puts it right down in the pocket there for Whiteside to dunk the basketball.
I see some frustration mounting. We've lost 9 of 11. I understand, but let me just calm you for a second. Maybe you won't like this, but if we held a draft tonight before this game, I think the first Jazz player would go 4th. So, understand they didn't have Ayton. We didn't have Donovan. We didn't have Rudy. There were players missing. But of the players on the floor tonight, if you were just drafting, I think the first 3 players drafted would be Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Mikal Bridges. Maybe Conley goes ahead of Bridges, but I'm not sure of that, actually. Mikal Bridges is maybe the best wing defender in all of the NBA and showed it tonight. He's really good. So even if you didn't go that strong and you went Mike Conley and Bojan Bogdanovic 3 and 4, and frankly, Bojan Bogdanovic, the finger thing is real. He's not able to dribble with the left hand. The splint came off multiple times during the game. He didn't look comfortable. He's not this is an issue, right? He came into the game in the last 5 games shooting. Bojan Bogdanovic shooting 38% from the field and 23% from 3. This is not great. This is a real injury. He's playing with an avulsion fracture on a finger that he can't move on his left hand. This is not a one-handed game. So, I wouldn't get that frustrated about it. I actually think there's a lot of positives tonight in this game on how they played, what they did, and they're really undermanned. And you're playing to, Ron said, not fall too far in the standings. Don't go to 7. And see if you can get better so that when the playoffs come, you're better.
But that splint you just brought up, it is a problem. Dribbling the basketball.
I don't think he dribbled left-handed tonight.
I did not too many times. But just the feel, the touch. Even though he doesn't shoot with that left hand that often, I know he likes to drive and dunk with his left hand. He does that quite a bit. And you can see why he got a little upset and took that splint off and just threw it on the sidelines. So he's either going to have to play with the pain or find a way or a different kind of splint. Or
honestly, if it's 4 to 6 weeks, there might be a point in this process where you just say, Bojan, we appreciate the fact you're the biggest warrior and want to play all the time, but we're going to sit you for 4 to 6 weeks and get you ready in March.
So the timing, David, if I'm looking at this now, we're approaching February. So maybe the first week of February, you play, you sit, then you're able to sit about 3 weeks because of the All-Star break.
That's right. And see if you can get this thing right.
And see if you can get it right.
We're speculating. We don't know. But it does tonight, the last 2 nights, he's battling. He doesn't look right. So we'll see. Jazz fall. Have a good night. See you.